Welcome, everybody, to the NFL Show on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. The NFL Show is brought to you by BetNow.eu for a cashback bonus on your first deposit. Make sure you use the promo code TRUTH100. I am your host for the NFL Show, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I'd like to welcome my co-host from the FF Face-Off, Anthony Servino. How you doing, Anthony?
What's going on, Mike? How are you?
All right, and we had a better-than-expected game last night. The 49ers beat the Cardinals 28-25. The thing that stood out to me here, Anthony, Jimmy Garoppolo, 28 for 37, 317 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. It looks like Jimmy G's starting to get back in that groove he had a couple years ago.
You know, first of all, I don't know. You and I both thought that the Arizona Cardinals would cover the spread, and I also said that on my show yesterday. So I wasn't really too shocked that Kyler Murray kept him in it, because in all of Arizona's losses, with the exception of 1 and 2, Kyler Murray has brought them within, a score of winning in the fourth quarter. But yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo played really well, no turnovers. But the running game with the 49ers, I don't feel like it was there at will like it was against the Panthers. And in a game like that, Jimmy Garoppolo needed to step up, and he did.
Yeah, and Matt Breida still 78 yards on 15 carries. Tevin Coleman, 12 for 23, though, was a little concerning there. But for the Cardinals, Kyler Murray played well, 17 for 24, 241 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kenyon Drake just became a Cardinal a couple days ago. 15 carries, 110 yards. Is that cause for concern if you're a 49ers fan?
I think you should be a little bit concerned. Kenyon Drake has only been with the team for a couple of days, and he ran wild on the 49ers. And they played tough competition. I don't know if it was because maybe they weren't prepared for Kenyon Drake. I don't know what it was, but, I was always a Kenyon Drake guy. He never really got the workload in Miami, which was always a big reason why people didn't like him in fantasy, but because of his talent, I would always buy in. And the Cardinals showed that if you give this guy touches, he's going to produce.
Well, so when you look at this, a 28-25 win at Arizona, does this make you feel better about the 49ers at 8-0, or does it cause you more concern?
I think I feel better about the Cardinals than I do the 49ers. I don't know if I'm very concerned at all. They're still an undefeated football team. And in a game where they couldn't do what they want to do, which is run the ball at will, Jimmy Garoppolo stepped up, didn't turn the ball over, and won the game.
Yeah, that's what I take away from it, because in the NFL, there's not too many easy games unless you're playing, of course, the Dolphins or the Bengals. But
in last night's game, early, the Cardinals had a 7-0 lead, and every time they would get the ball back, their defense would stop the 49ers. Cardinals would get the ball back, and there's either a penalty or a blatant drop with Field in front of the player where he could have picked up the first down and more. There were so many missed opportunities where the Cardinals could have gotten a 2-3 score lead. And there's not a lot of difference between these NFL teams talent-wise.
No, and
it's just a matter of discipline and who's going to make the mistake. And the mistake's not always a turnover; it's a drop. And there was a lot of them from a very young Cardinals team.
Yeah, and in the end, there's never a big difference, and that's why it always drives me nuts where teams that are 4-12 at the end of the year, their fans will be like, "Well, we lost 7 games by a touchdown or less." And I'm like, that's why you're not very good.
That's the NFL.
Yeah, the teams that are good make those plays. All right, let's transition to Cam Newton a little bit, who's headed to Green Bay, but not to play football. He's there to see a foot specialist. The Carolina Panthers quarterback is visiting specialist Robert Anderson to get a checkup on his sprained foot, which doesn't seem to be healing as quickly as they thought it would. Maybe there was no quarterback controversy anyways right now, because Kyle Allen's the only healthy guy in Carolina.
Yeah, and the report I saw from the NFL Network is saying that he is just not going to be healthy this year. And if you're not going to get a healthy Cam Newton, the best thing for the Panthers to do is shut Cam down, see what you have in Kyle Allen. And let's say Kyle Allen just goes on a losing streak, or he's not the guy, then you get Cam back at 100% next season. Or if Kyle Allen is the future, then you can move Cam in the offseason with very little to no cap hit.
Yeah. I think they should have shut him down before this year started, anyways, even without the foot injury, because I think there's other issues with him. Um, all right, you want to go ahead? Is there anything else you want to talk about before we go to the? Ooh, wait a second here, because I just found this. Eric Williams reveals cancer. Did you see this? Or
Uh,
Trent Williams?
no.
Yeah, he told reporters Thursday that he had a cancerous growth removed from his head this year, and that had gone undiagnosed for roughly 6 years.
Interesting.
I'm sorry for making fun of him about the helmet then. And that would actually make sense why your helmet being uncomfortable would make you fail a physical.
Right? No, it does make sense now.
Yeah, if it's true. And I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying if it's true, it explains a lot of things. All right, let's start off with the Week 9 games. The Houston Texans, I really feel bad about just kind of transitioning over somebody having cancer. But the Houston Texans at the Jacksonville Jaguars, well, not at the Jacksonville Jaguars, at the London Jaguars, 9:30 a.m. Sunday morning. Gives us something to watch when we wake up, Anthony. What do you think's going to happen? This is a big game.
You know, usually these London games at 9:30 a.m. Eastern aren't the best games, but you have the Texans, you have the Jaguars, two teams that are fighting for the AFC South. The Jaguars are hot right now. You know, the Texans, they lost a couple weeks ago to the Colts, then bounced back. Really excited for this game. I actually like the Jaguars in this game. And a big reason why, you know, there's no J.J. Watt. They traded away Clowney. They were already struggling to stop the offense on the defensive side of the ball. I've made the comparison that the Texans are almost like the Chiefs were last year, where to win games, they're going to have to outscore their opponent. And this isn't the same old Blake Bortles Jaguars team. Gardner Minshew can move the football. They have really young and talented receivers. Leonard Fournette's running the ball well. He's not scoring. The Jaguars only have one or two rushing touchdowns on the year, and I think that changes this week. I like the Jaguars a lot this week.
Yeah, and I like them too, just because of Leonard Fournette. I think it'll be a close game. But like you said, the Texans kind of got to outscore everybody. And we've seen it with the Chiefs. When they face a team that can run the ball, I mean, that is kind of the kryptonite for teams that are trying to outscore you, is the fact that maybe they don't get the ball as much because Leonard Fournette's controlling the clock. I like the Jaguars in a close game also. Next up, the Chicago Bears. Go ahead.
No, go. I was going to say about the Jaguars defense, since trading Jalen Ramsey, their defense is playing outstanding, better than when he was there, actually.
Because he's overrated, as I've been trying to tell you.
I don't think he's overrated. Let's not go there.
He's a troublemaker. All right, next up, the Chicago Bears will battle the best team in the NFC East, the Philadelphia Eagles, at 1 o'clock in Philadelphia on Sunday. Who do you like here, Anthony?
I think it's going to be a tough game for the Eagles. I actually like the fact that the Bears, they were able to run the football last week. I'm worried about Mitchell Trubisky, but he has a great matchup against that Eagles secondary. You could also run on the Eagles a little bit now. I think the Eagles will hold their own, but I just don't trust Carson Wentz against this defense. You know, Carson Wentz is throwing for fewer than 200 yards, and I think 2 out of his past 3 games.
Well, I think a lot of that's because they can now run the ball with Jordan Howard, who I think will have a big game against his old team. So who did you pick here?
I actually like Chicago in this game.
All right, that's a Dallas Cowboy fan picking
that's not
Eagles
a
game.
No, that's not a Cowboys pick.
The Eagles will dominate this game because the Bears have no offense because Mitchell Trubisky is horrible. So Eagles win the game, put a little bit more pressure on the Cowboys, who will then choke it away on Monday night. And next thing you know, they're in second place. Next up, I think a game that is extremely interesting. The Minnesota Vikings travel to Kansas City to play the Chiefs. Do you have any update on the health of Patrick Mahomes?
Still nothing new on Mahomes.
So they're not saying whether he's going to play or not?
No, not yet.
All right. I like
we probably won't know that until game day.
Well,
possibly tomorrow at the latest.
The other big question is Adam Thielen and whether he's going to be able to go or not. When I look at this, though, I like Minnesota. They got Dalvin Cook. They can run the ball. They worry me a little bit if Mahomes plays, but even if Mahomes plays, he's not going to be 100%. So I like the Vikings to give the Chiefs, what, their fourth home loss this year?
Yeah, they're saying that Matt Moore is expected to get the start, even though they're not ruling out Mahomes, and he is practicing in a limited capacity. But I do like the Minnesota Vikings here. Without Mahomes, this Chiefs team, they're very different because you can win the game with Mahomes. You know, he can take over a game by himself. It's getting a little bit more exposed this year, but without him on the field, the defense is suspect at best. They can't run the ball, and the Vikings do all of that stuff well. They can also run the ball with Dalvin Cook, which keeps the Chiefs' offense on the field, off the field, whether it's Mahomes or Matt Moore, keeps Kelsey, Tyreek Hill off the field.
Well, how about this? The difference between Matt Moore and Patrick Mahomes is to me is this. I think Matt Moore's a good quarterback. He can keep you in the game. Patrick Mahomes can win you that game.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment.
All right, next up, the Indianapolis Colts will travel to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. I'll start this one off. I think he took the first two. I'll take the next two. I like the Colts in this game. Jacoby Brissett. I think the Steelers have major issues at quarterback. I think they're going to have major issues running the ball. I think the Colts will be able to run the ball with Marlon Mack. I think the Colts win this game by more than a touchdown, Anthony.
You really think it's going to be that big? Because I like the Colts here, but the Steelers have been playing well, especially on defense. I don't think Mason Rudolph is as bad as you want to make him out to be, but the Colts just have too much talent, and Jacoby Brissett is the better quarterback, and that's who I'm going to take. But it's going to be a closer game than you think.
I don't think it is. Next up, the New York Jets at the Miami Dolphins. And this is a game where you know you suck when you're only favored by 3 against the Dolphins, Anthony.
I actually think this is going to be a game that the Dolphins can win.
I do too. Do you think the Dolphins will win?
Yeah, I am going to go with the Dolphins because Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's healthy. Sam Darnold isn't. He's going to play through a thumb injury. The Jets really can't get anything going that's positive. And I think what's going on off the field with their general manager and Jamal Adams, I don't think the players trust the front office, and I think that plays a big role on what kind of team shows up and if they quit on the team. And I think the Jets are at that place where they will quit in a game like this. Yeah, especially in a game that they should win. If Miami goes up 14-0, this Jets team will quit.
Well, how about this? I think that Flores, actually, this may sound crazy, has done a pretty good job with this team because I think they're playing hard. They seem to be getting better. They seem to get closer to winning a game all the time, where you can't say that about the Jets and Adam Gase or Opie Taylor and the Cincinnati Bengals. The Dolphins are getting better. I think the Dolphins will win this game also. Next up, the Washington Redskins will travel to take on the Buffalo Bills. I like the Bills in this game, Anthony. But I think the Redskins' defense may be good enough to keep this game relatively close, but I like Buffalo in the end.
Yeah, I like Buffalo here, too. I do think it's going to be a lower-scoring game because the Redskins' defense, much like, the Dolphins, they'll keep them in games. They have gotten better as the season progressed.
They've gotten better since Jay Gruden's been gone.
Well, yeah. I think as the season progressed, the Dolphins and Redskins have gotten better because they're younger players, a lot of injuries to overcome, and now they're starting to gel. But the Buffalo Bills, they're pissed off from getting embarrassed by the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the Bills are going to want to win a Bills type of football game, which is running the ball with Gore and Singletary, protecting Josh Allen, and letting their defense control the game.
Yeah, and I think they will, and it's a huge game. Buffalo cannot let this one get away if they want to be a playoff team. Next up, the Tennessee Titans will travel to Carolina to take on Kyle Allen, Christian McCaffrey, and the boys down in Carolina. Who do you like here, Anthony?
I lost you there for a second, Mike.
Tennessee at Carolina.
I think the Carolina Panthers, they're another team coming off of a really bad loss. Kyle Allen, his first loss as a starting NFL quarterback. I think the Carolina Panthers have way too much talent on the offensive side of the ball for this Tennessee defense to contain him. Eventually, Christian McCaffrey is going to blow up. And I don't think Kyle Allen, he threw 3 picks last week, but they were the first 3 picks he's thrown all season. He takes care of the football. He's not going to lose the game for you. And as well as Ryan Tannehill has played, I think it's going to be a tough matchup with the Panthers. I think they're getting the Panthers at the wrong time.
I think Christian McCaffrey goes off. Carolina wins the game. I think it could be a close game, though. I think Ryan Tannehill's played well. They can run the ball a little bit. So I think they'll be in the game, but I think the Panthers win it in the end. Next up, the Detroit Lions will travel to Oakland to battle the Oakland Raiders. And this is a huge game for both of these teams. The Lions have let multiple opportunities to be a 5-1 or even 6-0 football team slip through their fingers. And they're playing an Oakland team here at 3-4. If Oakland gets this win, I know I've said it on a few shows this week, then they host the Chargers, they host the Bengals. This could easily be a 6-4 team if they win this. I like the Raiders to edge this game. I think it'll be close. I think Derek Carr and Matthew Stafford are going to put on a show. I think the Raiders win this game like 27-24, Anthony.
Yeah, I think both of these teams are in a really similar spot, similar styles. Quarterbacks that have been around for a while and they can put up big numbers. The Lions just lost their running back, so everything is on Matt Stafford. And you can say everything in Oakland's on Derek Carr. Yeah, they can run the football, but they don't have a lot of talent around Carr. So these two quarterbacks are out to win the game almost on their own. It's just what defense is going to play better or who has the ball in their hand last. I think Oakland edges them out, though.
All right, next up. A battle of expansion teams from 1976. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers will take on the Seattle Seahawks. Anthony, quick question. When they first played in 1976, who were the starting quarterbacks for the Buccaneers and the Seahawks?
76?
Yeah.
I don't know. Jim Zorn, probably not Zorn, right?
It was Zorn. Zorn was the quarterback for the Seahawks.
And the Bucks, the earliest Buck quarterback I remember is Testaverde, but that's Testaverde.
Damn, that was 1987.
Yeah, 10 years later.
All right, how about this? A famous college football coach was their starting quarterback.
Spurrier.
Yeah, you got it.
There we go.
All right, so who do you like, the Bucks or the Seahawks?
Seattle.
Okay, I like Tampa Bay to win this game.
Why?
Because I believe Tampa Bay has more talent. I think Seattle wins because of Russell Wilson. I think their offensive line is bad. I think their defense is not very good. I think the Bucks front seven can harass Russell Wilson, slow down Chris Carson, and I believe Jameis Winston, outside of a couple games this year, has played well. He's got weapons. I think they can take advantage of this. And Seattle is a team that doesn't blow anybody out. So I'm definitely taking the Bucks into 6 points. But I think the Bucks can win this game.
Yeah, I just don't trust him. I don't trust Jameis Winston after the game he had the last time he was on the field, or last, really couple of games. He's going in the wrong direction, especially last week against the Titans.
Oh, I thought he played pretty well. If you watch the All 22 film on the NFL Network or on the NFL thing, most of that was not his fault. Most of that was dropped passes and bad routes.
I think both of these teams have question marks, and if you ask me which one I'll give the edge to, Seattle can run the ball with Carson, and they have the better quarterback, and it's not close in Russell Wilson. I don't care about Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I'll trust Russell Wilson because they have Jameis Winston throwing to them on the other side. And Jameis Winston does like to throw the ball to the wrong uniform.
You gotta have time to throw the ball, though, and I think the Bucks are going to take that away. I think this falls whether Chris Carson can go for more than 100 yards.
What, Russell Wilson's a pocket quarterback now?
He's always been a pocket quarterback. He doesn't run for a whole lot of yards. He runs when he has to.
Yes, when he has to. And earlier in his career, he was running 600 yards a season.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago.
Right, but he can still do it.
But there's a difference between a bad offensive line. You're running for your life.
And Shaq Barrett, where's he been?
And he's going to go off this week and have 19 sacks and prove you wrong. But I still think the defensive front is good. I think this is going to be a close game. So I'm just going to take a shot in the dark and say Tampa Bay wins it because I don't think Seattle's that good. I mean, I think San Francisco will dismantle Seattle relatively easily twice.
Yeah,
I
I just don't see it. I can't buy, and it's in Seattle.
Okay, we'll see. At the same place where the Cincinnati Bengals almost beat them in Week 1, the same place where they were beaten by the Baltimore Ravens just a couple weeks ago.
Every show, I have to hear how Russell Wilson is this great quarterback, and he can do it all by himself, and he's
He
better than
can.
Dak.
He can. He is.
Yeah,
So you wait a second. So you're
but
saying
Jameis
Dak
Winston's
is
going to
better?
go to see it. No, but
Okay.
I'm just saying, Jameis Winston's going to go and beat this great quarterback, Russell Wilson, at home.
No, he's going to go beat a undermanned team.
But if Russell Wilson is the team, as you say,
What? I mean, they can't lose a game because he's the best quarterback in the NFL. I mean, I think this, when you look at it, Tom Brady and Jimmy Garoppolo are the only guys that haven't lost a game. And
yeah,
I think,
they can lose a game.
but this
Russell
Seattle team is a 9-7 team, I think. So law of averages tells me they're going to lose some games today. You don't think they're going to lose?
Well, they're 6-2 right now.
Yeah, they're a 9-7 football team, though, talent-wise, with Russell Wilson. With anybody other than Russell Wilson, they're probably a 5-11 team talent-wise.
Right, but they do have Russell Wilson.
I know, which gives them the extra 4 or 5 wins and gets them to 9 or 10. Same thing as last year. I mean, last year they weren't playoff talented. They had Russell Wilson who got them to the playoffs.
Shaq Barrett, 8 sacks first 3 games, 2 sacks since.
So he's had 10 sacks in half the season, so he's on pace for 20 sacks.
Right.
Okay.
Hasn't showed up in 2 of the past 4 games and only 1 sack. Only 2 sacks in that time span.
Well, 2 sacks in 4
sure,
games.
Sure, when he's getting you
good.
8 in the first 3, that's great. That helps.
Yeah. I'm telling you this.
Charlton has 5 sacks in Miami.
I'm telling you this.
Taco Charlton.
Shaq Barrett will run roughshod over the Seattle Seahawks defense or offensive tackles. As will the rest of that team. Offensive line matters. And Russell Wilson's going to get a few more wins. But the Seahawks are no competition for the 49ers. Actually, nobody in the NFC West
I can see if this was Dallas and Seattle because Dak knows how to win there.
Geez,
Dak knows how to beat him.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Dak knows how to beat Seattle. Too bad Dak doesn't know how to win divisional playoff games. Next up,
he just wins divisions. That's it. That's all he does.
Actually, if you don't win a divisional playoff game, does it really matter that you won the division?
I mean, it's better than being, the Bengals or the Browns right now.
No, it's the same thing. You still lose. The only thing that matters is winning the Super Bowl, or at least getting to the Super Bowl. Dak Prescott has not done that. Dak Prescott hasn't even got to a championship game. He got outplayed by Jared Goff last year in the playoffs, and you don't like Jared Goff. You think he's terrible, but you love Dak Prescott.
When do I ever say Jared Goff is terrible?
Oh, well, most people that know anything about football do, so I just assumed you did. My bad.
Okay.
Next up, the Green Bay Packers at the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers are in trouble. I'm taking the Packers.
Yeah, I don't see any way that Phillip Rivers can go back in time and be the Phillip Rivers of 8 years ago when he can overcome all of the injuries and everything else they had to deal with. They fired their offensive coordinator. Usually that means the ship is sinking, and the Packers are red hot. Aaron Rodgers is finally looking like the old Aaron Rodgers, and it seems to be working in Matt LaFleur's system. They can run the ball with 2 very talented running backs. They can both catch the football. I think they've combined for 4 or 5 touchdowns receiving in the past 2 or 3 games. And they're doing all this they're playing their best without Davante Adams. They're playing their best really with nothing at wide receiver. Their receivers haven't been busy at all. So once Davante Adams comes back, this team is really – I mean, I almost want to put the Packers ahead of the 49ers, even though they have 1 loss.
Yeah, well, they're definitely both ahead of the Dallas Cowboys. Next up, the Cleveland Browns at the Denver Broncos. And this game is one that I don't know who to pick because it seems like both places are kind of on fire right now, Anthony, and not in a good way.
No, this is tough because the Broncos, they're getting Brandon Allen, really an unknown quarterback. They can run the ball well. Their defense plays well, but they can never seem to get enough offense to win football games. We heard it from Joe Flacco. They're not aggressive enough. So if they weren't aggressive with Joe Flacco, I don't expect them to be very aggressive with Brandon Allen. I think this is a Browns team that they're desperate. This is a game that they have to win if they want to keep their season alive, and their schedule is going to get softer for the rest of the season. So I'm going to take the Browns. Nick Chubb should dominate this game, and I would try to protect Baker Mayfield so he doesn't give this game away to an opportunistic defense.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Browns. They just got more talent, but I'm not sold on either team, even though I think with the Browns, you look at their schedule, they could end up winning the AFC North. But let's talk about the team that leads the AFC North, because I think we'll get to find out a little bit about two teams that we have a lot of questions about. The New England Patriots will travel to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. I think the question with the Patriots has been, can they stop the run? If that's true, Anthony, would it be safe to say that the Ravens may be the team in the AFC most likely to test that?
The Patriots, they haven't played very many good teams, and in some of these wins, their defense really had to step up and carry them. Their offense has struggled at times this season, especially running the ball in between the tackles. Sony Michel's having a very bad year in terms of yards per carry. And the Ravens, they can run the ball well. I think this is going to be a true test for this Patriots defense. Lamar Jackson's going to get Hollywood Brown back. They're getting healthier on defense. Marcus Peters is going to be with this team another week. Earl Thomas is going to be good to go. And then Jimmy Smith is expected to play for the first time, I think, all season. I actually like the Baltimore Ravens to win this game.
All right. I think the Patriots will win the game, but I don't completely poo-poo what you say, because I'm not completely convinced about the Patriots either. Plus, they've released Josh Gordon. So, I mean, any chance the players had to chill out, the drug dealer for them is probably gone. So I don't know where they're going to get their pot now. Have you heard anything about that?
What pot?
Well, Josh Gordon's gone.
Yeah, I actually expected them to cut Gordon.
Yeah.
That's not a surprise.
I can't believe he made it a whole year. I'm going to take the Patriots just because the other thing is this. It's still Lamar Jackson's a young quarterback, and if they can force him to throw the ball, I think he'll turn the ball over to him. The key to this is I think New England has an athletic enough defense to be able to contain Lamar Jackson running the ball. And if they do, I think the Patriots win the game. If they don't, the AFC could be blown wide open by the end of Sunday night.
Yeah, I agree. I think both sides are going to have to favor the run this week.
All right, the Dallas Cowboys on Monday night play the New York Giants, and we will pick that on Monday.
Cowboys, they won.
No, we'll see.
It's already done.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're gonna wait till Monday.
I have a new nickname for Dak Prescott, and it drives Mike Hoff on the FF Faceoff crazy. Crazy enough to drink. You want to know what it is?
Sure.
Intangidak. Take it in.
I did. I took it in, and
take it in.
I don't think he wants to throw up. I think that he's probably laughing so hard he might pee himself a little bit.
But it makes sense. It fits.
How can you say that somebody has intangibles when they don't win in the playoffs?
He's won one playoff game. He's only been around 3 years.
And he's played in 3, and he's 1 in 2, but yet he has immeasurable intangibles.
According to Jason Witten, best intangibles he ever had.
Yeah.
In his career, 15-year Hall of Fame career.
Yeah, and he spent all those years with Tony Romo.
And others in the locker room. DeMarcus Ware, a great locker room guy.
Well, I think we're talking about quarterbacks, which are a little bit different than talking about defensive ends. Dak's got to win.
I'm using
something.
a Jason Witten comparison.
Yeah, but Jason Witten means nothing to me. He's just an old, washed-up tight end who failed in the booth, so he came back to play again.
You have nothing to say good about the Cowboys. Nothing good to say about the Cowboys.
I really like Tom Landry.
About Troy Aikman.
Yes, I really like Troy Aikman.
Do you like Troy Aikman as much as Joe Buck likes Troy Aikman?
No, I have never slept with Troy Aikman. But yeah, I don't hate the Dallas Cowboys. I just think that they are immensely overrated with a terrible owner, a terrible head coach, and a lot of talent that is being wasted. And it blows my mind that you're all right with that.
I just hope that the Cowboys aren't going to overlook the Giants because they want New England so bad in a couple
Hey,
weeks.
you know what? Why did they lose to the Jets?
Wake up call.
A wake-up
They were
call.
too cocky. They needed that. That was a good win. I mean, a good loss.
Really?
That
So
woke the team up.
losing
Yeah.
to a team that you just picked to lose to the Dolphins is a good loss.
Absolutely is.
You can never have a good loss
What
when
did
you're
Dak
losing
say?
to.
What did Dak say after that game?
Oh, I
needed
don't
that.
know. He said, "I have so many intangibles. I'll eventually win. Trust me."
And I do. And if he did say that, I would trust him.
Yeah, but unfortunately, what kind of intangibles does Jason Garrett have? I need to sound the crickets. Anthony?
You here? I'm here.
Yeah, I'm here. I was just asking about, Jason Garrett's intangibles
But what does it matter about Jason Garrett's intangibles?
because he's the head coach, and him having intangibles is huge. Bill Belichick has intangibles. Tom Landry had intangibles.
I feel like Belichick has all the tangibles. I think Brady's the one with the intangibles.
No, I think they both have intangibles. Bill Belichick has things nobody else has ever had.
Yeah, it's called Tom Brady.
No, because you know what? Tom Brady didn't play on those Giants teams. I guess that was all Lawrence Taylor.
No, I like Belichick. I'm just fucking
And
him a little bit.
Belichick took Vinny Testaverde to the playoffs. And he had a name that was actually really true. Interceptiverde. Unlike Dak Intangibles or Dak Tangible or whatever the hell it is.
Intangidak.
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 How about losing in the wild card, Dak, or not making the playoffs, Dak? That's an even better one because I think there is a decent shot here. Your Dallas Cowboys are going to miss the playoffs.
When did he lose in a wild card?
When
did he lose in a wild card?
I was talking about this year, but then I also changed that to say that I think that he may not make the playoffs this year. Once again, what's the Cowboys' record right now? 4-3.
4-3.
All right, they're going to lose.
He's got to win a division.
They're going to lose to Detroit. That's 5 losses. They're going to lose to the Patriots. That's 6 losses. Let's see. They'll lose at the Eagles. That's 7 losses. Right there, 9-7. And just a little precursor, I think they're going to lose to the Giants. I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to be lucky to finish above 500 this year with a quarterback with immeasurable intangibles.
I think you're
what?
fishing right now. I think you're fishing.
How am I fishing? This is a team that was dominated by Green Bay. Their offense was dominated by the Saints. They were injured versus Green Bay and the Jets.
Oh, were they?
They were wounded.
Oh, were they hurt?
They were wounded.
Man, that's sad. Well, you know what? The Giants are wounded, and the Giants are still going to beat them. The Eagles were wounded when they lost to the Cowboys.
They didn't lose. They got blown out.
Oh, they got blown
Big
out.
difference.
Oh, okay. Big difference. Well, the Packers blew out the Cowboys.
What was the final? Dak almost
What
almost
was
brought
the
him back.
final?
3 scores
Intangijack
down.
only lost by 2 scores. It was 34-24 because the Green Bay Packers let up because the game was over in the third quarter. It was 17-0 at the half. It was 31-10 going to the fourth quarter. That was by no means a close game. That is not a game where you can give me if 2 or 3 plays or if this play changes, we win the game. Because you can't. Go watch North Dallas 40. It'll show you how the Dallas Cowboys operate. Even though it was in the 1970s.
I think I've seen that movie.
It was a great movie. They never made a movie about the Bengals. But Beck did have a song about the Bengals, though, called Loser. I remember that one.
Yeah. That's what the Bengals ought to play when they enter the arena to play a football game. And you know, the sad thing is, Welcome to the Jungle came out in like 1987. The Bengals in 1988, the Super Bowl year, before every kickoff, played Welcome to the Jungle. Do you know what song the Bengals play 31 years later before kickoff?
No.
Welcome to the Jungle
Good
by
for
Guns
them.
N' Roses. It's 31 years though, and I think that they've still got Mike Brown's cassette player plugged in to the intercom or PA system, and they're still playing that same cassette 31 years later. Saves money.
Sounds like it.
He could get new songs, but a Spotify account costs like $11, so he's not going to mess with that. But all right, you want to tell everybody where they can find us or find
Yeah,
you?
you can follow me on Twitter at The Real NFL Guru. You can follow my show at the FF Face Off, and you can find us both on all the top podcast and social media platforms.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. We'll be back Monday to argue about the Cowboys Giants, to talk about everything that happened on Sunday. And what was it we called Dak Prescott now?
Intangidak.
Yeah. All right. We ought to print up some T-shirts.
I think so.
You know, we could. We have the ability now to get them drop shipped and actually do that. So if you can draw up a design that the NFL won't be mad at, we could do that. I'm serious,
I mean,
too.
Okay.
But,
Well, let's not give the idea away on air.
well, you already did. Nobody's really going to run with a Tangidak or whatever you called it because it's stupid. But you never know. Cowboy fans, from what I've seen, are usually not very bright. We could probably go ahead and print up Super Bowl champion T-shirts for the next 10 years, and they'd sell out quickly.
Well, or never lose a game in the next decade.
Yeah, but that's already happened. Well, not the next decade, but this decade.
Well, it starts over every week.
Well, of course it has to. So if you guys win the last game in December, you'll have been right.
Good point.
There you go. All right, guys. Remember, you can follow The Grueling Truth at Grueling Truth. You can follow us at thegruelingtruth.com. Make sure you check out betnow.eu. Use the promo code TRUTH100 to get a cashback bonus on your first deposit. And listen to me and Anthony Savino every Monday through Friday at noon for all your NFL talk. You can hear all of our shows on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, Stitcher. Wherever you find podcasts, you'll find The Grueling Truth. So for Anthony Savino, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.